He acts with far more accommodation to the Iranians than he does to the Israelis, and that makes no sense to me.
Well, he fears them more. He fears that the Middle East is going to blow. He doesn't want to confront what's happening. He fears Iran. He's trying to appease Iran. Everybody knows that. He doesn't fear Israel because Israel's on our side, at least ostensibly.
Well, Bill, I think he is more concerned about his legacy and being the president that can bring Iran to the table and make a deal with them,
no doubt about
than he is about the existence of Israel.
All right, folks, joining us now is our friend Banafsheh Zand, Iranian political analyst and human rights activist. And welcome, Banafsheh. You wrote a great piece about how Barack Obama is throwing Iranian-Americans under the bus via his relationship with Iran and with the Ayatollahs and the mullahs. But I want to ask you something. Today, Washington Post, front page, I believe, the IAEA says still, Iran, we have no idea what they're doing. They're not letting us see anything. Yet Obama keeps saying, hey, they've lived up to every part of the tentative agreement so far. They're keeping all their promises. What does he have, spies or X-ray vision, or is this what he gets on the phone call with the Ayatollah?
Well, you know, Yukio Amano said it yesterday, and just as Kerry was smiling and stepping away and acting like, you know, they've succeeded in getting this regime to play nice. But the fact of the matter is that anybody who has followed this regime as long as I have, or as long as any of the Iran watchers have since 1979, can tell you that simply this is not the mandate and it is not the culture of the Khomeiniist regime. The bottom line is that if you do not know who you're dealing with, you're going to fall into a trap. And these guys, the Khomeiniist regime, is a master of trapping people, is a master of getting them to sort of buy into their big lies, their continuous big lies that have been exposed time and time again. And yet, it seems that this administration refuses to, A, take a book out of history, B, at least be in touch with or connect with the Iranian regime opposition, such as myself and thousands of other knowledgeable and active Iranians who want a free Iran, a country that is has religion separate from the state. And he knows where we are. He knows who we are. The White House certainly does. Mr. Kerry and his Iranian kinfolk know who we are. The fact is, however, that the cronies that have surrounded Mr. Obama are the leftover stragglers from the Carter era, and they have been angling for any, you know, area where they could get in and try to inject their will or impose their form of dealing.
And you know, Banafsheh, along those lines, the Carter era, but you know, there's also guess who addressed J Street the other night? James Baker. James Baker, foreign policy advisor to Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush went out of his way today to say he differentiates himself from Baker's views there. He doesn't support J Street. Yet,
well, those are the people who are leftovers from the real politique era of the Cold War. Those people's, you know, Brzezinski, for example, once upon a time in the 90s had been interviewed, and he had called the Taliban just a bunch of angry Muslims.
Right.
And, you know, the fact of the matter is that these people think that this is what the definition of cultural imperialism, when you think that what you want or your modus operandi or your Weltanschauung somehow is juxtaposable onto an entirely different culture.
Right. No, but what I was going to say was, in the case of Baker, not to interrupt, there's a lot of talk that what Barack Obama did was basically take James Baker's blueprint on Iran, that Iran should have more influence in the Middle East and deal with Iran. Everything Baker has advocated, it looks like Obama has adopted.
Yes, well, you know, and if you look at, for example, Bush 41's report card, it is by no means nearly as intelligent, proactive, or even, let's say, confrontational. And I don't mean that in like a warlike or a hawkish manner so much as holding somebody accountable. Bush 41 did not do that. And basically, the fact is that when Reagan tried and Clinton even tried, Bush 41 tried. The fact is that unfortunately, none of these administrations, none of these presidents, as well as their European counterparts, recognize the fact that this is a regime that has its own set of rules.
Absolutely,
they have
absolutely.
their own way of dealing with things.
But Banafsheh, we're out of time, so I recommend everybody go to AmericanThinker.com, AmericanThinker.com, and check out Obama Throws Iranian-Americans Under the Bus. That's Banafsheh Zand's article. Great piece. Thank you for joining us. Up next, Mary Matlin. Don't go away.